Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it. Nobody don't know about it. In fact, J Boogie, let them know what time it is.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the pop-up show. Doing a little special today in commemoration of Josh Hart. First game as a New York Knick that went, in my opinion, as expected. Like, I'm not even sitting here saying, oh, it's just a one game sample size, give it time so we can figure out who this guy really is. What you saw last night is who he is. Now, it may show up in a stat sheet in different ways on different nights, but this is who he is. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Jerrell and DJ Shuttle. How you doing, fellas?
What up, what up, what up? Shuttle, you on mute, bro. You on mute.
You're on mute.
Well, so all aboard Super Bowl Sunday, day after a win, so we feeling great.
Yep. Salute, I have to wear my gear, even though my team is not in it. I always got a rep on this beautiful Super Bowl Sunday. Go Chiefs, you know what I'm saying? Go Chiefs.
Yeah, and he is in enemy territory. He lives in enemy territory. So from what I understand, the Eagle fans are out already.
It's only 11 o'clock. It's not even the afternoon yet, and they already pissing me off, Steph, but it's all good.
It's all good. We will be there soon enough. Shout out to the chat, Gerald D. MacGyver, JJ Ajay, Kareem Grant, Omega, Julian Blum. Okay, if I forgot anybody, my apologies. All right, let's get right into it. Your impressions on Josh Hart last night. I know both of you are familiar with him overall. If you want to talk about that, you can. But then your impressions of him last night in his first game as a New York Knick with probably just a walkthrough.
I'll go first. Josh Hart is not a surprise to me at all. He did exactly what we said he was going to do during our last show when we was talking about if we like to trade or not. So, he gives us toughness. He gives us good IQ. He gives us ball movement. You saw the passes that he was doing. He gives us rebounding, even though he's only 6'4", 6'5". He averages just as many rebounds as Mitch almost. Not a slight on Mitch, just saying how good Josh Hart is at his size at rebounding. All of that showed last night. He didn't start the game, but he finished the first game that he was in. So Tibbs obviously respects him and, admires what he does for the team. I think this was a Tibbs trade. It's not like Cam last year when he came to the team and, he had to scrape for minutes. Josh Hart got traded and he finished the game last night. Like, I didn't expect him to start. I didn't even expect him to play that many minutes at all, but because it was the first game. But that should show you how much Tibbs trust him. So yeah, Josh Hart wasn't a surprise. He was who I thought he was.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
DJ Shuttle?
I would concur 120%. I mean, one of the things that is lacking on this team is intelligence, IQ on the court, and toughness. So he brings a very high level of basketball IQ. He brings a high level of toughness, tenacity. There's just a certain type of factor that it's like you can't coach. Either you have it or you don't have it. And don't get me wrong, there's some guys on this team that do play hard and they try, but there's another level of tenacity that a lot of these guys just do not have, and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like both of you, I wasn't surprised.
Right.
But it was just good to see it on the Knicks. It was just good to see it on the Knicks. And listen, some of those rebounds he got in traffic. Some of those rebounds, he came like plastic man. It just can't. And he does have a 6'9" wingspan, 6'8", 6, and it showed. Some of those rebounds, he came out of nowhere, and
like he had no business getting those rebounds or getting that loose ball. Like, how did you?
Right.
But when you like me, I've seen him on the Lakers. I've seen him a little on Portland, so I wasn't really like shocked that he did that because it's not like these are things that he's never done before.
Right.
All I knew is I was just thinking, boy, like Mason, Oakley, Starks, you know, Doc Rivers, Ewing, these guys would be proud. He could have played on one of those teams, and that's the type of that we needed.
Right.
Sorry, Cam.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cam.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 4 steals, 4 assists. That second unit played faster. That second unit looked different with him on it. Even though RJ was still on the second unit, he transformed it, in my opinion. It still looked different. What him starting basically right off the bus or the train or the plane, however he got here. Not starting. He played more minutes than Grimes. McBride is out of the rotation, it appears. He closed the game over IQ and Grimes. What does that tell you about Tibbs? That he took him, somebody who wasn't even on the team, came right in, played more than a starter at that position, and closed the game.
It tells me that a lot of people owe Coach Tibbs an apology. That's what it tells me. Because a lot of you people out there have been saying the coach would not play certain people, and it was not because he didn't like them, he didn't trust them. It's not that he didn't like them, he didn't trust them. You got a guy that is intelligent, smart, listens, plays hard, plays with tenacity. And I think Tibbs was like, yo, you know what? I'm going to show you what I need from somebody, and I am going to throw him in there, and he's going to show you why Fournier is not playing. He's going to show you why Cam wasn't playing. And if they had been playing like this, they would have been playing like this. You know what I mean? So, you know, Coach Tibbs, man, like, yo, you guys got to step back off the coach. He knows what he's doing, and the type of players he likes, the type of players I like. So I'm giving the coach a lot more rope. And as you see, Josh Hart went out there and showed everybody, like, if you got a player like this on the team, it'll elevate the play of the entire team as well. So McBride, listen, he gonna have to sit down. Grimes, he's still developing. So yeah, he could start for right now, but good chance Hart's gonna be finishing these games. And you got a Brunson-Hart connection, which it was so clear last night. It was like you're just catching up with one of your old homies and getting the joysticks and playing together. Like you know, I know what you do, you know what I do. You'll go over there, I got you. And I mean, it was just beautiful to watch.
Right. You could tell he has a connection with Brunson and Randall. You could tell he played with him too. Because I think he played with him with the Lakers.
I'm sorry, Jerrell. Pardon me, just one quick second. I just want to also add, like, that's why quickly will probably be sacrificed with some minutes at the end of the game, because Brunson and Hart have a connection. And yeah, you can sometimes play Hart at the 3 and you might sit RJ, but that's not going to happen a whole lot. So, you know, quickly is going to lose some minutes too, especially at end of games. But again, pardon me, Jerrell.
No, that's all good. It's just the connection you could tell with him and Randall, because he played with Randall too. I think on multiple teams. I think he played with the Lakers. He might have played with him on the Pelicans too.
He was part of that trade.
Yeah,
he was part of that trade.
Right. So he played with Randall on the Lakers and the Pelicans. So he has a connection with both of them. You can tell. I think what Tibbs did last night is, like, you can tell that even though Grimes started, sometimes IQ started, they might not be starting caliber players just yet. Because if a guy can just come here and as soon as he gets a uniform, can have more minutes than them in the clutch, that kind of proves that they shouldn't have been put in that position in the first place. We just didn't have anybody to replace them yet. So that's not saying that the future here for IQ or Grimes is in question. It's just say they're just not ready yet. Like, they're still young. They both can come off the bench if Josh Hart starts. And I don't think anybody should have a problem with that. Like, they have time to, you know, mature during the years. This is Grimes' only second year. People that's been in the league 2 years, you can't expect them to be consistent like that every night. So Grimes can be better than Hart in the future, but as of right now, Hart just gives us a better chance to win games. That's all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think what it told me about Tibbs is he's about winning. And if you're somebody who he thinks, we may disagree though, who he thinks is going to help this team win and help this team be better, that's who he's going to play. And that he has a certain something. I don't know if we're clear on it. A certain something that he's looking for in a particular player. Now, sometimes when you have the top of your roster, like an RJ or Randall, sometimes you got to live with those guys. Like sometimes they don't quite do some of the things you like, but you kind of have to live with them.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past your top guys, the rest of the roster, there's certain things that you are looking for and holding them accountable for if you don't see them. I think a lot of people think you hold the entire roster accountable, and it just doesn't work like that. If you've played organized sports or coached organized sports, you know that your best players get a longer leash, and you can't be like, oh, well, I missed 3 shots and I'm on the bench. This guy missed 3 shots. He played the whole game. I mean, there is a hierarchy, whether you think it's fair, or not. But once you get past those players, I think Tibbs is looking for dogs. You know what? I don't even think he cares about your height. He talked about playing Josh Hart at 4. I don't think he cares about your height, your wingspan. I don't think he cares about your shooting. I just think he cares about you playing a certain way. Because one of the things Josh Hart said is that you have freedom on offense. Like, it's just, like organized freedom, basically, on the offensive, on the offensive end. I agree. I don't know if it was you, Jerrell, or Shuttle, who said that Tibbs was all in on his signing. And this is the difference between bringing in a player that the coach is behind and bringing in a player that the coach is not behind. And that's the difference between a Josh Hart and a Cam. And I think Cam is talented, but I think it's the intangibles. Like there's certain intangibles that Tibbs would like to see. Now, another coach would love Cam, and maybe, I don't know if they wouldn't like Hart, but maybe not as much,
Yeah, no, there's definitely some people that are more talent driven, and there are definitely people that are more heart and, no pun intended, more heart and mentality driven. So, and it's some people can bring out the most in a player that doesn't have the heart or the tenacity, but has the talent, and they know how to, bring it out of them. Other coaches, they don't want to deal with that. Like I need dogs, and we're gonna figure out a way to win because we're dogs. And I think now Thibodeau has a little bit more of that. You got Brunson, who's a dog. Now he's got Hart, who's a dog. And we get one more in the offseason. We be ready next year to really take it to the next level.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I was just going to say real quick, just to piggyback on what Steph said, with how the two players are different between him and Cam, right? Cam actually started his first game for the Blazers, and he had 11 points, just like Josh Hart had 11 points. But it's the other stuff that Josh Hart did is what we need for the Knicks. Right. It's the 7 rebounds. It's the 4 or 5 steals. I think he had 5 steals, but then they took one away. It's the 4 assists that he had. It's the other stuff that Cam can't do. It wasn't the scoring at all. Right. It's the other stuff, the other intangibles that Cam doesn't have yet, or if he might not ever have it, but it's the stuff that Josh Hart does that Tibbs trusts and Tibbs likes, that he will get more minutes than somebody like Cam would, no matter how talented he is on offense.
Right. And that's just the difference in a coach. Look at Denver. Was it Denver? Yeah, got off of Bones. Golden State, Steve Kerr traded away James Wiseman. It wasn't a talent issue for either one of those guys. Those guys either did not fit the coach's style of play, or they didn't like the way they played. There's some rumblings out of Golden State about, James Wiseman and his maturity, and things. He's a young, he's a young guy.
Right.
So the point I'm trying to bring out is these things happen all over the league where you have coaches who are looking for a specific type of player, specific type of intangibles, and it's not just about talent, which is why I referenced Bones Highland and James Wiseman. It happens all over, not just with the Knicks.
Facts.
Yeah. Any concerns about McBride, who is out of the rotation? So it seems like Tibbs is sticking with a 9-man rotation. Grimes, who played less minutes than Hart. I think Hart played 25 minutes. Grimes played 22 or 23, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Any concerns about McBride and Grimes' confidence being taken out of the rotation or minutes being lessening?
I actually think you should add a couple more names to that list. I think RJ and Obi's confidence needs to be put in question too with Josh Hart here, especially Obi. Obi was on the bench looking really, really sad, just like Quentin Grimes was, that he wasn't getting time. You can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And with Josh Hart, the way that he plays, even though Obi's a 4, his spot is in question too. It's not just, that's how versatile Hart is. Like from McBride all the way down to Obi, he could take all of their spots. Not take all of their spots, but take most of their minutes away. So yeah, I think all 4 of them should be, concerned, personally, because that's their way of life, that's their career. But as a Knicks fan, I don't care. Like, I just want to win games. But yeah, they're definitely concerned with their confidence, especially maybe Grimes, because it probably affects him the most. But yeah, RJ and Obi, I'm not really worried about Deuce because he's coming along, slowly anyway. But RJ and Deuce will have problems with this too going forward. We'll see though.
Well, listen, if one thing about me, I don't know, if you are in the NBA and you have a lack of confidence because another player is here, and maybe you're losing a couple of minutes or whatever, then you could go. Really, you're not really my kind of guy. I'm more of a Tibbs guy. I can be honest with you. Like, I'm a tough guy. I got a tough mentality. And if you too soft to be able to deal with another player coming here that's playing well, and instead of looking in the mirror and reflecting on what you can do to get yourself out there and improve your game, then you're not really my kind of guy. I think that McBride was getting minutes just because Fournier and Cam just weren't going to get any. So, I don't really expect McBride to play at all at this point, unless Quickly is or Quickly or Brunson are not playing, So I don't think McBride has anything to really be ashamed about. He's really at best, a 12th man, a 13th man anyway, in my opinion. So, all he can do is continue to play hard and have himself prepared and ready when his number gets called. But Grimes, more importantly, for this team, I think that, he seems to be a pretty cerebral type of guy. So I don't really see him being too negatively impacted. I think for now he probably will continue to start, and it'll probably be what we saw yesterday, where he may start, but Hart plays more minutes. Grimes may start, but Hart would finish a game. And I think it'll be partly to do with matchups. The person I think that really should be impacted the most and it needs to be on alert is RJ Barrett. Because, as you said, Queen, Tibbs is here to win games. And RJ, if you continue to miss layups, I don't care if you average 20 points or not. I mean, you continue to miss layups and make these, like, his rope is not the same rope as Randall. That's clear, and it doesn't deserve to be. So there's definitely the opportunity that Hart could be playing at small forward with Grimes and RJ being on the bench, especially at the end of some games. So to me, RJ is the one. If I had to be worried about anybody, it's him. And I hate that it had to be him because, I mean, not only for the team, but it'll lessen his trade value. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a time when RJ's rope was as long as Randall's, but it seems like it's getting just a little bit shorter. And
Not
a
today.
lot, yeah, a lot of that has to do with his recent play.
Yep.
Right. Him sitting in the fourth quarter in overtime, that was an indication, right? There might have been another game prior to that in which he didn't close, where I think Tibbs elected to go with IQ and Grimes. So, I think you're right with that. But do you think this closing unit, talking about closing, and then I'll get to the chat, is set in stone, or do you think it's more about who's playing well? You figure, and we've said this before, Brunson is going to close, Randall is going to close, and one of those centers are going to close.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that now it's going to be 2 out of 4. IQ, Grimes, RJ, Josh Hart. 2 of those 4 are going to close. Do you think the closing unit last night was set in stone, or you think it'll rotate depending on how they're playing?
I personally hope it's flexible. Just real quick, I don't think we got to take that long. I hope it's flexible. I don't want no coach to have like a set stone closing lineup, because if one of them isn't playing well, somebody should go to the bench because the other person is playing well. That's just good coaching to me. So hopefully for me, it'll be flexible.
Yeah, I would expect it to be flexible because RJ's inconsistent.
Right.
Grimes could get hot, and you want to have his shooting in there. Yep. A team could need a defensive we might need a defensive stopper, and Hart's the guy. So, I would expect it to be pretty flexible. In terms of he's shown flexibility, and it's not like we have 5 studs that we think will be out there, no questions about it. So,
yeah, I wonder. Sometimes you can have. I think this is going to be the closing unit, however, with a caveat, and that caveat is how's RJ playing that game. How's Hart? I think Hart is going to close most nights. I really think he is, and I think it's going to come down to, RJ's been playing pretty well. Let's close with him, or let's move Let's move Josh Hart to 3 and put in, a Grimes or quickly at 2. One of the things I will say about RJ, though, is no matter how terrible he is, he plays much better in that fourth quarter. And he hits big shots in the fourth quarter. He can be, one game he was 0 for 10. Another game he was 1 for 9. But his confidence is just not rattled. In that fourth quarter, he comes up with big shots. So I think it's more about what is his defense like on that that particular night. All right.
Yeah.
Let me shout out the chat real quick. Paris Doug, I appreciate you. Grimes will shoot better with less minutes. RJ also. We shall see. Every human being has their confidence challenges. That is true as well. Pudge Nice. What you was gonna say?
I just said Duggar.
Oh, okay. Pudge Nice. RJ ain't closing. He closed last night though.
Yeah.
Dwayne Dennis, appreciate you. Too bad RJ and Toppin doesn't grasp what winning basketball looks and sounds like. Imagine if RJ and Toppin brought into lockdown defense and rebounded. It's not all about scoring. It's making the winning play. I mean, more so for RJ, I think there's more to RJ's game outside of scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Playmaking, making the hockey assists. When you look at Josh Hart, he had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists. It wasn't a high scoring game, but his impact on that game was huge for us.
Yep.
And I think RJ has some of that in him if he would just lean into it. I think at this point in his career, scoring is super important for him. You know what I mean?
I think the scoring, I think he's like at a point where scoring numbers is an indication of how successful he's doing. And he's feeling a need, not on the rookie team, not on the rookie challenge, and, all these type of different things where he hasn't got certain accolades and he's not in spoken about in the top 25, under 22, and all those type of lists that get put out. So I think he's just like, yo, I gotta prove myself. And the way he has to do it is by putting up the numbers. And I mean, like, listen, I respect what he's trying to do, but make the right play at this point. The team is getting better around you now. This isn't the team from 2 or 3 years ago. The team is getting better around you now. So, like, don't be a negative. You know what I mean? Be a positive, whether you're scoring 14 points or you're scoring 24 points.
Right. And you could, I haven't seen it. I may have seen it once, but on Twitter, people talk about how RJ is sulking a little bit, and how, there was a game when he was whispering something in Obi's ear, and then there was something else on Twitter how he was mocking Tibbs. I don't know how true any of this is, but what I will say is he's had to deal with the least amount of adversity on the Knicks since he's been here. Yep. He came right into the starting spot, no matter who came, who went, whether he shot well, didn't shoot well, he played. And this is the first time where, all right, he's not closing the game. He's not playing in overtime. This is the first time he's dealing with a little bit of adversity. And I'm interested to see how he responds to it.
And plus, he also got that contract extension.
And he got the contract. You think he's feeling a little pressure to prove that he deserves it?
No, I'm just saying that you say he hasn't had any adversity. Like, he's the first rookie to have his rookie from the first round to be extended in how many years. So, yeah, that adversity was out of the window too.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Queen, it's only one game, but you really know basketball. I try. You wanted Brunson and now said Hart will make a serious impact. I hope Tibbs will rotate closers and not be his stubborn self. I think he will, because that's what he's been doing, this season. Other than those.
So, Steph, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The last sentence in that post, in that comment. Tibbs being his stubborn self. What stubborn self are we talking about? Not playing Cam, but then getting a guy like Hart and playing him immediately and getting like the type of impact that we wish that what we needed from Cam to do, but we couldn't get. I don't know. I don't see this stubbornness that people think. I think that, like, if you have a type, you have a type. Ashley, like, if you have a type of a type of person that you like, it's like, you like bald-headed men, you like women that wear short haircuts, that you have a type. Tibbs has a type. Hard-nosed players with tenacity, players that are smart, players that you don't have to tell the same thing 10 times and they still do it wrong. Like, to me, that's not stubborn. That's playing the type of players that you need out there.
Right. And well, yeah. I mean, I think that's what any coach. A coach has their philosophy, and they're pretty consistent with their philosophy, and you don't like it, but that's their philosophy, and I think we're going to find that with any coach we bring in, they're going to have their philosophy. There's going to be a way that they like to do things, and that's the way they're going to do it. And don't get me wrong, I do think there are certain things that Tibbs does that I would like to see him do different, but I'm not going to be somebody that's going to only see the bad, right? That's what's going on, like with Randall as well. Like, people are so locked in on the negatives that they can't even see how he's changed the positives. And I think it's the same thing with Tibbs. People are so locked in on the negatives that they can't see the positives. They can't see where this team is. You got to be able to call it as you see it both ways, right? And just because somebody doesn't do it the way you would do it doesn't mean they're wrong, Anyway, Mike Boy, salute all. Grimes has had his chance. He's still getting decent minutes. Yeah.
Grimes had 20. He played 22 minutes, 1 point, 1 assist, and 1 rebound. So I think Tibbs is still going to play him. He just has to, he just got to play during those minutes. That's all. Like, Grimes isn't out of the rotation at all. I think he's just probably not. He might lose the starting spot, but he's still going to play, 15, 16 plus minutes a game. So that's good for him in the second year.
And truth be told, as I maybe naively was hoping Rose would bring some of that veteran stability to the second unit with Quickly before the season started. Possibly now Hart is that guy with Quickly to, keep the smarts on the court and the continuity and these type of things. And you got Quickly, you got Hart, you got OB in that second unit. I mean, not bad.
Speaking of Rose, Steph, I had started a question about Walter White. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, can Hart have a similar impact to the team as Rose did when he got traded here last year?
I think so.
Or 2 years.
A year before. Yeah, you're right.
I think so.
I think so too.
I really think so. And both of those guys were, not stars, not, the top 3 player or, on your team, though you can argue that when Rose came at that time, he was.
Right.
But what they bring basically is those intangibles that elevate the entire team. Let me get to Julian Blum's comment. Hart just elevated those guys by setting an example on defense and how New York play is supposed to act. Yeah, and in a lot of other ways as well. Now, do you think he starts? When he hit those 2 3-pointers, I said, "Uh-oh."
It's a wrap, right?
Because that was my only concern.
Yep.
And then when he hit those 2 3-pointers, I said, "Oh boy, oh boy."
Yeah. I could go quick on that. Yeah, he's going to start, like, eventually. Like, it should be fast too. Like, it might be next game. It all depends. But it really doesn't matter if he starts. Since he closed last game, it matters like who closes to me. But yeah, he'll probably start.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's going to start immediately. But I think it might be a type of deal where, speaking into existence, when the playoffs start, maybe there's a change of lineup, at the end of the season, depending on how the team's, doing. This team, I got to be honest with you, the schedule is looking real tough.
It's been looking tough for a minute now.
No, but the rest of the remaining season looks even tougher. Like, lots of games that are primarily against more of the upper echelon teams, where it's like, okay, now you can see where early in the season, where a lot of the games, you played Detroit, it felt like 100 times, and Houston a couple of times. Now it's like, all right, now we're playing Denver a couple of times. We're playing, we got Philly, we got Boston, we got the Nets. So, it's looking very, very tough. So depending on how things shake out, I think the team is winning and doing pretty well. Maybe it'll status quo. But if we hit a slide, he's getting in the star lineup because you got to shake it up. So, I can't predict the slide or not, but but I wouldn't be totally shocked.
I think he's going to start. I'm starting to think now, as time goes on, you kind of learn a little bit more about Tibbs, and I don't think he cares about the shooting as much as I thought he would care about the shooting. And I think with Josh Hart, it's about volume. He was only getting to 2.3, taking 2.3 shots at a game, right? I think the season before that he was shooting like over 6 a game, right? And on this team, you're encouraged to shoot the 3 if you're open. Like, you're encouraged not to pass up shots. So if he gets the volume, his 3-point shooting may be better than I thought.
Well, last year, he was with Portland and Dame was out, so he was featured a little bit more, had a bit more opportunities. Simmons was, still on the come up last year. So, Hart was kind of de facto young vet that just, I think, had more opportunities. So more on the bench, a little less minutes, this year. But yeah, I think he's proven he can shoot in the upper 30s from 3-point range. He's not going to shoot a gang of them, but if he shoots, 4 a game and he's, 2 for 4 or 2 for 5 a game, I think we're great.
Yeah. It's not a bad backcourt of having IQ and Grimes, in that second unit with RJ. Because we stick into a 9-man rotation, RJ still runs with that second unit. And Obi Toppin and iHeart, who has really, really raised his level of play as of late. I have to run the numbers. Maybe I'll do that for Queen's Court.
Mm-hmm.
The last, I don't think it's been 10 games, maybe 6 games or whatever, but looking more mobile, passing the ball around. Like the iHeart, I think many of us was expecting to see when we signed him. We're seeing him as of late, a beast on the boards.
14
last night. And I believe 6 of them were offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he just doesn't, he doesn't look. Before he was falling down, he was, he just seemed he was fouling. He just seemed to be a little out of sorts. Now he's looking super sharp. Block shots, rebounds, passing the ball, taking his shot. The Philly game, was it the Philly game? Faced up, put the ball on the floor, took it to the basket. I'm like, wow.
Or we got get some Hart t-shirts getting printed up.
Right. If Hart stays in that second unit, you're right. That heart to heart.
Love it.
So, yeah, I really like the way that second unit is is shaping up. Now, Obi's minutes, is really not increasing. Like since he's come back from injury, he's getting about 10 minutes a game. And I think, to your point, DJ Shuttle, yeah, in terms of the type of players that Tibbs likes, I don't think Obi fits in that mode at all. And I think if there was somebody else, I'm not sure he would even get those minutes.
We basically played an 8-man rotation last night. Obi had 9 minutes. Everybody else had 20 plus. We only played 9.
Well,
so,
when
Mitch comes back, Obi's out.
No. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, because Sims is not going to play power forward over Obi. The deal is that Randall is a 34 to 35 minute guy, and he's the best player on your team. And most teams, your top player is not playing less than 33 minutes a game. So, that is what that is. There will be times where, Obi may get a little bit more, but 10 to 12 minutes is where he's at based on what Randall is doing and delivering for us.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I just think if there was another option, I'm not even sure he would get that. I just don't think he is a Tibbs type of player. And I wonder how much is the Leon Rose, his agent, Obi's agent is Leon Rose's son. I wonder how much politics, is playing in it. And there's no other option. There's Randall and Obi. There's no other power forwards on the roster unless you're gonna put, as Freezy would say, baby Randall, which is RJ at the 4th spot. Other than that, we don't really have it. All right, let me get to the chat. 914 finest. I appreciate you. Oh, that's, you know what? I got it mixed up. Do you see that picture right there, Jerrell?
You thought that was okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
That's different. Oh,
okay.
Man. All right. It's only a matter of time before Hart is starting. Yeah, you might be right. Obi can't back up Randall properly.
Properly.
Yeah,
is the key
I'm
word.
gonna have to get that some thought and figure that one out.
Properly.
Paris Duggar, Josh is now on his 4th team, so let's chill out.
What does that really mean?
Nothing.
What does that really mean?
How many teams was Shaq on?
There's 2 theories. In all fairness, there's 2 theories. like 7.
How many teams was Shaq on?
Yo, that Boston Shaq was nasty.
Boston,
Cleveland
Cavs,
Shaq,
Phoenix. Come on,
Phoenix. Okay, yeah,
the Big Desert.
right,
big
big cactus.
The big cactus.
So you have two theories though. One is you traded because people don't like you and they don't want you, and the other theory is you traded because you're a valuable piece in a trade for other players, and people are desiring you. Actually, he gets traded from LA because there's a big fish, and he's a valuable piece in that trade.
Trade for Anthony Davis,
Davis, right?
Yes, he was going in that trade.
and to Portland. Was that a trade to Portland? He was traded to Portland, or was that a free agency?
I think there was a trade too. I forgot, to be honest. I don't remember.
Well, all I know was the trade from Portland to New York. We wanted him, so I don't care are the reasons for the other trades. To be honest with you,
it happens all the time. How many teams have Jimmy Butler been on? I mean, it happens all the time. So
right.
Joe Bino 59 would like to see how the chemistry between RJ and Hart develops before Hart gets to start. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but if he's not starting, there's not room for them to play a lot together to determine what that really is. And truth be told, Hart seems like more the type that can play with anybody, whereas whereas what the hell is RJ gonna do? Are you gonna pass the ball or not? Are you gonna make the right plays or not? Like, see the court. Obi was wide open under the hoop. Oh, did you see that play?
I didn't like how Obi was jumping up and down like that, though.
What are you doing? Like, how do you not? If that would have been Randall not seeing the court, holding the ball, and not passing it to somebody underneath the hoop, the heat and the smoke that would have come for Randall for that.
Yeah.
Double standards out here.
No doubt. Paris Duggar. Dumb organizations get rid of Obi, RJ, Cam. Great organizations build them. Paris Duggar, like, sometimes I don't even think do you watch other teams in the NBA? Golden State is considered a great organization. They traded Wiseman.
Wasn't Wiseman the number 2 pick?
He was a number 2 pick. They traded him. Denver traded Bones Highland. It happens. That's why I'm saying you got to get off the grand narratives and start looking at things with a little more nuance. It's not always black and white. You're a dumb organization if you get rid of this. You're a smart organization if you do that. Golden State traded Wiseman.
Here's a question. Is Phoenix a dumb organization for trading Bridges?
Right. And
did you see Bridges? Bridges said, "Hey, I get it. It's KD. I would have did the trade too."
right. Same way that Josh Hart got traded for Anthony Davis. Like it just happens sometimes.
It happens, man. And
it doesn't mean you're a dumb. It doesn't mean you're a dumb organization. I think we are so focused on the Knicks because we watch them every single night, game in and game out. A lot of us don't look at what's going on around the league. Look at the rosters around the league and see how many young players are sitting on the bench of teams that are not that good.
And I got one for you, Steph. And I got one for you, Steph. Last night, I don't know what you saw, but I saw a whole new marketing than I saw 3 years ago.
Lauri Markkanen
4 years ago
is nasty now.
Okay,
he's a problem.
Now tell me, Mr. Duggar, will you watch or anyone? Were you guys watching marketing 3-4 years ago? Were you trying to figure out why is this guy getting traded to other teams? Were you saying, oh, he was a lottery pick, whatever the case is, he's gonna be a beast, don't trade him? No, you were probably saying, yo, listen, this guy looks like he's gonna be a bust, and he's an average NBA player, but he's not the top player that we thought he would be. Lo and behold, 2023, I don't care if it's because of a small market or if it's no pressure or whatever it is. All I know is that guy is looking like a beast right now.
Right. This is 13 too, to be
right.
honest.
But some people will say, but people will say as an argument against you that that's why you hold on to your young players because they can pop in year 7. In
7.
Right.
Year 7.
Paris Duggar, if you watch the league, then your comments in the chat should reflect that.
Yeah, and
because if you watch the league, and it's not just watching the individual players, but watching what organizations are doing. Because if you're saying dumb organizations get off of young talent and smart organizations develop them, what does that say about Golden State? What does that say about who else we was just Phoenix, and there was another play, Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Those are considered smart organizations. I just think that we have a narrative that the Knicks organization is not good and has historically not been good, and some of that is legit. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But we hold on to the narratives even when the evidence changes. That's the issue that that I'm talking about. I'm not saying Tibbs, Randall, the organization, all the things that Knicks fans criticize, those three, a lot of that is legit stuff.
Right.
Tibbs taking people out, the rotations, a lot of some of that stuff is legit. Don't get me wrong. And it's not stuff, there's things I would like to see as well. But I try to see both sides of it. And I always try to say, you know what? You're going to get that with any coach. You're going to get that with, any player. We're going to get another coach. I don't think Tibbs is going to be here forever. And they're going to be stronger in the places in which Tibbs is weak, or we think he's weak, and they're going to have issues in another area. You know what I mean? And they're going to have issues in another area. You're not going to find a coach that just holds it down in every single area where you have no complaints.
Yeah.
Same thing with the players.
Same thing with the players.
And we talk about the Knicks drafting all the time. The best players on the team now, we didn't draft either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randall, Brunson. And that's not unreasonable in the NBA.
Right.
I might have missed it. Was it tonight, or you mean overall?
I didn't see that. I'm about to say I didn't see that.
He said his first ever. So I might have.
Wiz, that was today, Wiz? Because I missed it in the chat. I didn't. Oh, hold on. You did start.
I did. I missed one.
Or unless I did. One of us started. I forgot who. But yeah, it's the top one. Look at the start joints.
Oh, okay. Start. Okay.
The first one.
And I saw that too. Queen is always right, except giving Tibbs a plus.
Salute to Wiz, yo.
Salute to Wiz. I appreciate you, Wiz. Rebuild. Grimes needs a little more seasoning. Yeah, he does, and that's why I don't. Do you still think? And I think the answer is yes. Does playing less minutes, does playing in the second unit, if that happens to Grimes, stunt his development?
It might help him.
It might help. I think it depends on the player, to be honest.
Yeah, it actually could help him, because if he's playing on the second unit, it's like it goes from you playing against the A guys versus playing against the B guys. So if he's playing the level he's given us all season on the A guys, if he's going against more B level players, his performance could actually take an upstick.
I would like Quentin Grimes to come off the bench just because he can showcase his scoring ability more. Like Quentin Grimes is a scorer too. Like he just doesn't play defense, but if he's in the starting lineup, he's not going to score a lot of points.
They're not even looking for him.
Yeah, they're not going to.
They're not even looking for him.
If they're bottled up.
Yeah, he has to be wide open.
A release valve.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, man, I had a flashback watching the game one night. I was like, damn, I felt like when I was young and I used to play with the older guys. It was like, hey. yo, I'm here. Like, yo, you just happy to be out there with the older guys right now, fam. Like, don't even you get a shot when you get a shot. Chill out, kid.
It's a reason you open. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pass the ball, play defense. Don't make no turnovers.
Right.
And,
I agree. I'm sorry, guys.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be stunted at all. And listen, he'll have more freedom in that second unit. And because we've seen him put the ball on the floor, we've seen a lot of things that he does. So you got him and Quickly in that second unit. Quickly's making better decisions. His shot selection is better. He's the one now in that second unit.
The ball's moving around better.
The ball is moving around. You got Hart playing, playing better. And we can use some scoring in that, in that second unit. Paris Duggar, look at the Lakers rooks making every team great now. Listen, come on, Paris.
The rookies that they traded them, and then they won a championship with Anthony Davis. So, and then they got one of them back. D'Lo is back with the Lakers. So I think they're in a good spot. They did okay.
Listen, when you trade young guys and a trade like that to become a championship contender, right? Because that's what Phoenix did as well.
Right.
It's not like you don't think those guys are ever going to be good. They just don't match your timeline.
Right.
When you get LeBron, that speeds up your timeline for getting a championship. Right? So we got to get somebody to go with LeBron because we got this window, 2 years, 3 years, 4, whatever it is. We need to speed it up. Get off these young guys because when they pop, LeBron is going to be retired or close to it. Right? So it's not always that you don't think those guys are going to be good. They just don't match your timeline, right? If a star was to become available tomorrow and the Knicks was to get off of quickly and trade quickly, Grimes, Sims, whatever, it's not that they don't think those guys are going to be good players. It's just that who they bringing in, they believe will help them get a championship faster, right?
Like Phoenix traded Mikal Bridges, his first game with the Knicks, he started and had 26 points.
Right.
He's not KD though. So he had to go in that trade. Like it's not like they didn't like Mikal Bridges. It's just that he got traded for Kevin Durant. It just happens that way sometimes.
Right. Like Randall, Brandon Ingram, they got traded for AD.
Right.
You know what I mean? They got traded for AD. And listen, at the time, you never know if those guys are going to go. You didn't know Brandon Ingram would be Brandon Ingram. You don't know Randall would be Randall. So what are you going to say? You rolling the dice and be like, oh, you know what? These guys are going to be stars. I'm going to pass on AD.
And because of the chip and because of the championship, you will do that trade 10 times out of 10 just because of the championship.
10 times. Kuzma, Hart, Brandon, Ingram, Randall, Lonzo, Caruso. Not sure what you're trying to say there, but okay.
Nah, I mean, good players, but it's like respectfully, it's like stocks. You know,
it's like stocks.
Right. You gotta sell when you gotta sell, and you might sell, and the stock goes up. You're like, damn, I blew it. You know, you gotta buy low, and hopefully it goes up. But you still at some point, no matter how low you buy, no matter how much money you make with it, at some point, you still going to sell that possibly too. You know, you're not going to just buy a stock and just hold it forever. You know, that's the very, very rare, like that's an Apple stock, you know, like those come, you know, one every 1 million stocks, just like the players. You know, you got your Kobe Bryants, you got your Michael Jordans, you know, you got your LeBrons. Is like, these are the 1 in 1 million stocks. And Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, like, we need a stronger argument.
Listen, even if Randall kept those guys, they wouldn't even be championship contenders. If the Lakers had Randall, Brandon Ingram, D'Lo right now, Kuzma, they would not be championship contenders in the Western Conference. They wouldn't be better than Memphis. They wouldn't be better than Denver. They would be a good team.
They'll be us.
They would be B-level players.
They'll be us.
They would be us.
Like right below. Players. You know what I'm saying? Like right below.
Waiting for a star. Looking to trade off 1 or 2 of those guys for a star so that they can become championship contenders.
Right.
The bubble trip and no other player. Listen. Everybody want to laugh at other teams. The Knicks have not won a championship in 50 effing years.
If the Knicks won the bubble championship, all 5 boroughs would have shut down, Paris. I would have been out there with a parade. What?
Yeah. All right, Paris. Keep your money. Keep your money. We good over here. All right. Geraldine McGyver, our team is winning. I'm not a Tibbs fan. Maybe I've been a little unfair. He coached a good game last night. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm in the same boat.
Geraldine, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Tibbs fan either. I came on here and crapped on Tibbs a couple times, but if we're winning games, what I'm gonna say? I gotta shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like Tibbs is doing a good job, so I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, I
But
want
is he perfect? No, I think some of
course,
the
that's what I'm
criticisms
saying.
are legit. But you're gonna get the only thing I'm saying is you're gonna get that with every coach.
Yeah. Listen, all I say to you is if you're a chef, if you're a top chef and you've got subpar ingredients to cook with, you're gonna make the best meal you can make.
Right.
Like, don't act like this team is loaded with the perfect players, and it's like, oh my God, like how could he have this team and he just got this team going to pool? I put a post up on Facebook about a week or so ago. It was a setup post and a follow-up post. The first post is the team underachieving, meeting expectations, or overachieving? The large majority said meeting, and the greater majority said overachieving. So then if that question is mostly meeting and exceeding, I'm confused how you could be disappointed and so upset with the coach. If he's not perfect, cool. But like, how could you be upset with a coach that is at worst meeting and at best over exceeding the expectations? I'm lost.
Yeah. Ajay says, Queen, you're forgetting LeBron. You add LeBron to those players. But listen, they're at different time.
But you don't get LeBron without trading for those players.
Well, LeBron was a free he went
there.
LeBron was a free agent. But look, LeBron was on the team with those guys.
And he traded
before they got AD. And the reason they traded them, Ajay, because they were not championship contenders with all of those players and LeBron.
If they were championship contenders with LeBron, why would they have traded for AD?
Why would they have traded for AD? We're talking about two different time slots. We're not talking about the Randall and Brandon Ingram of today and the LeBron of yesterday. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I'm trying to say when you make these trades, is because the timeline doesn't match up. Not that those guys won't be good. They're just not going to be good when you need them to be good, right? He was on the team with Randall, Clarkson, Ingram, all of those guys. You know what I remember most from that season? Him sitting on the end of the bench saying, my goodness, I know I didn't come here for this.
Right.
I remember that game. He was sitting on the end of the bench like, yo, this ain't going to work.
Yep.
And Ajay said, even Clarkson, not Ajay, Paris Duggan, even Clarkson, that's not a championship contending team. If you took all of those players right now and put them on the Lakers without LeBron, they're not a championship team.
Maybe second round.
Yeah, maybe second round. I agree with that, but not in a championship contender, no.
Yeah. I mean, 24-year-old LeBron, maybe he gets into the Eastern Conference Finals, but not 38-year-old LeBron.
Right. Takes what you and that's what and that's what Tibbs has been doing. Taking what he has and making a great meal. Before Josh Hart got here, what was our average age? 24, 25? So you're in the 6th or 7th seed with starting a player at shooting guard who's not a reliable shooter and has played 86, 87, 88 games over 2 years. And RJ Barrett, who many would argue has regressed, I would say he's inconsistent. And with those players, we have a good chance to make the playoffs. So I think that's what's been happening. Just because you don't use every spice in the cabinet, you know what I mean? Come on. Some spices don't go with a particular meal.
Right.
I
don't think it's a coincidence that most of the top chefs, as in coaches, with all the good rings or all of the high level rings or high amount of rings, look at the ingredients that they had. Like Red Auerbach had 6 Hall of Famers on that Boston Celtics team. Like Phil Jackson has how many rings? Well, Michael Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, Scottie Pippen, they all had something to do with that. Like the ingredients that they had were top-notch ingredients.
Then you got Pat Riley. Then you got Greg Popovich.
The ingredients are impeccable.
Come on. You got Hall of Fame
Whole Foods, fam.
You got Hall of Fame players. Yeah, exactly. Right. And
they was working with saffron.
Yes, saffron, black garlic, some stuff that's not in the regular supermarket.
Truffles, you know what I mean?
and that pasta sauce wasn't ragu or prego; it was carbone.
Right. Yeah.
I've heard.
No doubt about it.
Yo, the only team that we can even look at that had, we'll call it like, didn't have top tier ingredients, if you even want to argue it, I'll give it to you a little bit, is the Detroit Pistons. But I'm giving them a little bit of room though. But even
because Ben Wallace was a 4-time defensive player of the year.
Exactly. In the Hall of Fame.
So
he's in the Hall of Fame.
I'm with you, Jerrell, but I'm just saying, if we want to give them that, like to say they didn't have a stacked, team, but every other championship team, the Warriors, even the Cavs, I mean, you got Kyrie and LeBron, two of the greatest of all time. Right. So, like, how far do you really think a team with no Hall of Famers on it? Like, there's no Hall of Famers on this team. If I had a bet right now, nobody in this team is going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
If I had to bet.
Right.
So you got a team with no Hall of Famers on it, and you think this team is what? Underachieving? How? Really?
Right. And no star either, But I think Brunson is a budding star. Anyway, Paris Duggar, I know I don't have to support to be read. It's support, and I appreciate it.
Oh, what a gentleman! What a gentleman!
All of them were with LeBron. But we just said that. All of them were with LeBron.
He traded them.
And they traded him because that wasn't a championship team. All of those players was right there with LeBron when LeBron came, and they were not championship contenders, which is why the Lakers traded them to get AD.
Right.
Right.
D'Lo went to Brooklyn. They traded him to Brooklyn. They traded Josh Hart, Randall, and Ingram for AD to New Orleans.
Right.
So all of them got out of there. Oh, I'm sorry, and Lonzo. All 4 of them went for AD because Lonzo went to the Pelicans too.
Right. Right.
To the left.
Actually, how is he a B now? We were doing better when we did the midseason grades than we are now. We were in the 6th seed. Our defense was top 10 and our offense was top 10. And this is the point I'm trying to make. Everybody is looking at the rotation. He took this player out. He took that player out. That. But now he's being more flexible. So I'm going to give him the higher grade. My grade is based on results. Bottom line. It's not big. At that time, we were 6th in the Eastern Conference, top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense. Right? Why is it a B now where we're in the 7th seed? 20, we're like 18 in overall defense or something like that. Over the last 10 games, our defense has been 24th. Our offense is 15th over the last 10 games, but now it's a B because I can see him being a little more flexible and I can see him playing this guy and I can see him. It's a results-driven league, bottom line. Right. At that point in the game, that team, in my opinion, was overachieving and offense and on defense. Right now, our defenses went to whatever you want to call it. And this was happening even before Mitch got injured, our defense was sliding. So no, I don't think it's better now, actually. Salute, Ron. I appreciate you. Go ahead.
Salute, Ron.
Oh, no, I was saying about the defense. Yeah, I agree. The defense has taken a slide, and I'm very hopeful and encouraged with signing Hart. And we saw last night, I mean, just first of all, his on-ball defense, his hustle to get back on defense and transition defense, his passing lane ability, and to me, I just think that defensive rebounding has got to get shored up. Like that is, it's kind of like in football where they say, we need to gang tackle. You know what I mean? We need to gang tackle, and we need gang rebounding. Like everybody has to crash the boards. This is the whole thing about leaking out and all of that. Like, you know, these flares to the person going for the shot. Like we got to improve the boxing out and we got to improve the defensive rebounding. That will improve the defense and that will also improve the offense.
Right. Coming up, we have Brooklyn Monday. Right. We got Brooklyn Monday, and I believe we have Atlanta Wednesday before the All-Star break. Before we get out of here, what's your take on those two games? Who start? Do you think Josh Hart start those two games? Do we have a better chance now? I mean, Brooklyn has changed as well. They're still a good team, though.
Yes, they are. Because Mikal Bridges looked like, I mean, he was kind of unstoppable against the Sixers. So we're gonna have a problem with him. Yep.
He's coming for blood.
I'm sure there was an extra motivation because they traded him on draft night too. That's his hometown.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, he probably want to kill the Sixers every time he plays them. I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah, you are right. He got drafted by his home team and they traded him on draft night. Yep.
Right. And they could use him. Can you imagine him on that team right now?
No, I don't. Yeah, I want him on our team, but that's another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think play the Brooklyn tomorrow and then the Hawks. With the addition of Josh Hart, I don't know. I think it's kind of the same. It's like I think Josh Hart obviously makes our team better, but it's not like he's a world beater and all like that. Like if we didn't have Josh Hart, I still would have gave us the same chance with beating both teams. Let's just say that. So, you know, hopefully we will beat them, and we play the Wizards on Friday. So, yeah, I give us maybe 2-1 out of that.
We play the Wizards this Friday or the Friday after? No, that's the Friday after All-Star break, I think.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's next.
So it's just 2 this week.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the Brooklyn matchup, Atlanta matchup, DJ Shutter? We'll talk about it more, you know, on the Queen's Court tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I watched Brooklyn. Brooklyn's scary. Brooklyn's scary. Brooklyn's definitely scary. It's like, I mean, they're a team with that they have a high floor because they don't really have a drop off. Whereas we can't really play past 8 or 9 players. They could play 10, 11, 12 players because their 10th, 11th, and 12th players are all guys that either can contribute or have already been contributing. So, I mean, of course you want to and need to beat Brooklyn, but I mean, I'm not really expecting. I think that was a question I saw last week. You might have had with one of the other guys on one of the other shows. Do you expect Brooklyn? Do you expect the team to exceed Brooklyn in the standings?
Yeah. Yes.
And you know, my initial take was, yeah, we should exceed them. But after watching them, I'm like,
yeah, Brooklyn look nice, man. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
So, you know, I got to put some respect on that team. You know what I mean? I got to give some respect on that team. So, but the Hawks, you got to keep distance between the Hawks. So, like, I mean, like a loss. Yeah, I mean, I know it's still 20 games left in the season, 22, whatever, after this game, but you can't. Now is not the time to lose the teams that are behind you in the race. So, I mean, if it's a split with a win over Atlanta and a loss to Brooklyn, I mean, I could kind of deal, but yeah, man, that Brooklyn team is looking not championship scary, but don't want to play them scary. It's like one of the teams you just don't want to play that team. And I'm sure teams like the Bucks, the Sixers, even the Celtics, I'm sure they're not gonna. None of those teams will be thrilled to see them in the playoffs.
Right.
The athleticism. The athleticism of the Bridges and Cam is exactly what's missing from this team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. Initially, when I said, you know, wow, KD and Kyrie is gone. Yeah, definitely. The Knicks now, they can get the 5th or the 6th. But you're right. When you look at that team and you look at, you know, let's see if it was just revenge on Philly for Mikal Bridges or if that's just who he is. You know, sometimes when you're playing with stars like Booker and you know what, have sometimes not a lot of room. That's not your role on the team to really be that type of scorer. He might have a bit more freedom now. We might see a different type of Mikal Bridges, right?
Right.
Dinwiddie is always, you know, always solid, you know, a good player. He's another one. He was playing with Luka Doncic. How much you doing on that team? With
Right.
you know, with the usage that Doncic has, they got a little more, you know, space right now. Cam Johnson, you got Dorian Finney-Smith, you got
Cam
Nick
Thomas.
Claxton still there. Cam Thomas is coming off the bench. So yeah, initially I was like, yeah, the Knicks should definitely catch them, but they got a 4-game lead. And they're going to be a good team as well. And they're also going to be motivated for the rest of the season to prove that we're going to still make the playoffs even without Kyrie and KD, right? So I think that's going to be a tough one. And to your point, Atlanta, you know, I don't know how much better they've gotten, you know, with Sadiq Bey, but they got Trae Young. They got somebody who can get hot and win a game by himself.
Yeah, we saw what Murray did to this team.
Right.
We saw what Murray did. So, I mean,
Right. Like
and it looks like Collins is getting his mojo back too.
Right.
Yeah. I was about to say Brooklyn traded away KD and Kyrie, but the 4 players that they traded for, they all started right out the gate too. Like Finney-Smith, Johnson, Bridges, and Spencer Dinwiddie, they all started their first game available.
Right.
So they have 4 new starters, and they almost beat the Sixers. And the only reason it didn't go to overtime because Spencer Dinwiddie hit a game-tying shot. Excuse me, but it was in his hand when the clock hit 0.
Right.
Or it would have ended overtime.
Right. Right.
That was their first time playing together. So yeah, they're gonna be good still.
Yeah. Shout out to Pamela Willis, listening on Facebook. Appreciate you, sis. Sometime around trade deadlines, players get tense. So let's see if their play gets better now. That's true because you know, our offense has been dropping some, our defense has been dropping some. You know, maybe that was part of it.
If you're a player, let's say you were Evan Fournier or Derrick Rose, and you're in all the trade talks, you know, maybe Obi Toppin.
Maybe Obi Toppin was definitely in trade talks.
Yeah, so you know, and as a New York guy, maybe, but
quick, there was a report that the Knicks were considering whether to include IQ in trade talks for OG. Now, how good that, you know, how true that was, but they were at least considering, and some were thinking yes, and some in the front office was thinking, nah. All right.
I don't want those players. I don't want those players. You lose your confidence. You're getting too tense because of trade talks. I don't want those players.
Right.
You need to go.
Yeah. I mean, but they're human. They're human though. Michael Sharon, I hope I got that right. Lineups will remain the same until after the All-Star break, at least. You might be right. And then they'll have that opportunity to practice. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Like they got a whole that makes sense.
He's on to salute to that comment.
Yeah. Geraldine MacGyver, appreciate you always rocking with us. Do you guys think we have a chance to make it out of the first round of the playoffs, depending on our team matchup? That is a great question.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the matchup.
It depends on the matchup. Cleveland, I would like our chance. Even now, when I say I like our chances, I'm not saying Cleveland's not a good team. And Cleveland has Donovan Mitchell. Well, man, I might have to reconsider that. They got Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell is a proven playoff performer. He's a PPP. You know, he's a proven playoff performer. We don't. Well, I think Brunson is a proven playoff.
We saw what he did against that player. So
yeah, that's true.
Yep.
And you know what? I don't know if we would win, but I'm not afraid to face Philly in the first round. Philly has struggled to get out of to move. I don't know if it's the first round or the second round, but they've struggled. Second in the second round. All right, the second round.
The only thing about Philly is just Embiid. Once he is in the playoffs, he's going to turn into it. Like his clock is ticking, so he's going to turn into a complete monster, whoever he plays.
Right.
Not just against us, because
right.
Embiid needs to get out of the first round for his, legacy. Yeah, for his legacy. So, yeah, it'd be tough to play them just because of that. Other than that, yeah, I'm not scared of the Sixers. It's just because of Embiid.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It seems like if any team has the Knicks number, even if we beat them here or there, it just feels like the Bucks just have the Knicks number.
Yeah, they close, tight games, and we still lose.
And I just hope the Toronto Raptors just keep losing too, because they have our number too. I don't care where we play them; like they act like we play them like they are the best team in the league sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
they don't play nobody as good as they play us for some reason.
If we're being realistic, we're looking at maybe 6th at best, and potentially 7th or 8th. So that's why I'm talking about the Bucks, and then you mentioned Philly, but also Boston is the more other likely team. And even though Boston is a tough matchup, like if I'm picking between Boston, Philly, and the 76ers. Boston, Philly, and the Bucks. If I'm picking one of those teams to play against, I'm actually probably picking the Celtics.
That's what Ron said too. If I'm not mistaken, Ron, correct me if I'm wrong. On his Saturday show, Know the Ledge, he said that the Knicks play Boston well.
I think the matchups are better against Boston than they are against the Bucks and the 76ers, because there's barbecue chicken when you get against Embiid. So that's just, to me.
Yeah.
And with Harden, maybe now with Hart against Harden, that might make it a little better. And I'd love to see that. But Giannis, Middleton, Lopez, Holiday, Bucks just got too much firepower, in my opinion. Boston, they got Tatum. They got, Brown. I don't know. It's like I don't really see them as a team with a lot of firepower. If you could contain Tatum a little bit, you could beat that team.
Yeah, they lost their coach and they only got 16 losses on the season. So I don't know, man. Boston's pretty tough. We'll figure it out.
Boston is absolutely tough.
They're super tough.
Absolutely tough. But I think Bucks and 76ers are tough also. And when you talk about, the question was about the matchups. I just think the matchups where I just feel like, no disrespect to iHeart and Mitch, but Embiid is just like, this is like he's in the kitchen, barbecue chicken cooking every time.
That's not disrespectful to them at all. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Two different, it's not the same sandwich.
Yeah, and then the way Harden's has played, Maxey, Harris, I just feel like it's
we played them well. Listen, it's a 2-2 series, and we were right in there up until the fourth quarter. Though you can argue that, that's when good teams usually play.
I'm about to say we're doing it in the playoff stuff. So
That's true. What do you guys think about this New York 2FL podcast? Appreciate you rocking with us.
Absolutely.
A first round knockout says more about Tibbs in the front office than the players.
So if you lose to Boston and Boston goes to the finals, that's an indictment against the coach?
Yeah, I think it depends on the matchup.
Yeah. Sometimes teams are just better.
Right.
Sometimes teams are just better.
Okay, you got Tatum, who's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You got Brown, who's a potential possible borderline Hall of Famer. You got Marcus Smart, a defensive player of the year. You got Al Horford, a multiple-time All-Star. You got Giannis, MVP. You got Middleton, an All-Star. You got Holiday. You got Lopez. You go to 76ers, you got Embiid. You got Harden. You got Max. You got Tobias. If you lose to one of these three teams, that says something about Tibbs in the front office and the players. No, it says that you need better players, and you got to acquire better players, and you got to coach better players better.
Right.
Well,
I think maybe
you might say something about the front office and the fact that they weren't able to get Donovan Mitchell. Right.
I
guess in that respect.
Right. Maybe if we lost to, I don't know.
Appreciate the
First
super
time.
chat as well. Sorry, Jerrell.
That's all good. Like the first time we was in the playoffs, obviously we played the Hawks. So maybe if we had that same scenario again and we lost to the Hawks like that in 5 games, then yeah, that's an indictment on the coach.
Right.
But this is different circumstances now. Like if we play Boston first round and we lose, that's not an indictment on Tibbs. They're just a better team.
Right.
But we do need to level up this offseason. I ain't gonna hold you. We do need to level up.
If we do lose in the first round, we got to do something, because that case we're just spinning the same wheel over and over and over again.
Listen, even if we win in the first round,
still upgrade.
We still gotta upgrade. Shout out to Paris Duggar. We'll beat Miami is another team I don't want to see. We'll beat Miami, Cleveland, Philly, Boston.
Well, Miami won't be high enough in the standings to play them.
Not in the first round, no. I don't think so. Unless they go on some type of incredible run and everybody else fall down, then no.
Right. Ashley, I appreciate you. Definitely hit the like button. That's a free way to support the channel. That gets more that gets the show in front of more eyes on YouTube, and we get to grow the Dope Soul community. So for sure, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I've seen some new names in the chat. I don't know if these are just old old chatsters who have changed their name, or if this is actually new people to the show. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification. This is not a show that we usually do, but every now and then I'll have what I'm going to call, thank you, Harlem Girl, for the term, pop-up show.
Right? I'm on during a Sunday. You ain't never seen my face on a Sunday unless it's got to do with the Giants. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get on this show.
I appreciate you. Corey Lee says we need to stop being scared. Integral one matchup and listen, matchups matter, especially in the playoffs.
Yep.
Especially in the playoffs. You can beat a team because you just match up. Not necessarily that you're better than them overall, but you match up better with them. Yeah, no doubt. Shy Powers, I appreciate you. WW lose in the first round and go to the 7th game. I'm great with that. Yeah, exactly. Listen, don't go out there getting swept. Don't go out there looking like a deer in headlights.
Keep the brooms in the closet.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you these teams figuring realistically 6, 7, and 8, we fall into one of those slots. I mean, and figuring 1, 2, and 3 stays where they are, whether it moves in the order. But I mean, there would be nothing to be ashamed about losing to Boston, Philly, or Milwaukee. If you play them tough.
Does how we lose matter in those series?
I mean, listen, if the games, even if it's a sweep, but 3 of the 4 games are close and it's like 2 point, 1 point.
Yeah, you can't get mad at that.
Then I'm not mad at that. It's me. Like, I'm not gonna be unrealistic with my expectations when I'm going against teams that have superior players. Like, I'm not gonna overinflate the value of the team that we have just because I'm a Knicks fan. We got to be unbiased, and we gotta look at and respect the other teams that we're playing against. Like, they get paid too, as the saying goes.
Right. East Blue Drew. Now, this is one criticism I do have of Tibbs, and this is something I would like to see, particularly in the playoffs.
Right.
And that is in-game adjustments. I get it. You come in with your bullet points and you scouted the team, and this is what you would like to see happen. This is how you're approaching this particular team today. Doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, what do you do?
I would like to see him, switch it up, a little bit. And I've seen some of that in terms of rotation, sticking with guys, not going back with guys, closing with guys, not closing with other guys. Sometimes, though, you might have to change up your defense a little bit. Sometimes you might have to trap. I was so happy to see the Knicks trapping Embiid. Now, it worked out for us the first game. We trapped Embiid. He passed it to his teammates. They did nothing with it. It didn't work the second game. We trapped. He passed it to his teammates, and Maxie and Niang did their thing. Yep. You know, so but you basically what you're saying is, I'm not going to allow the best player to beat me. Somebody else is going to have to beat me. And in that second game, they did. You know, but yeah, I'm definitely with you. I'm definitely with you on that. No doubt about it. Harts Duggar, the real question, do they want to see us? I bet no. Listen.
Yeah, we tough.
We are tough, but with that defense, we got to get that defense together.
Right.
Anyway, any last words? I know Jerrell got the big Super Bowl party. He got his big spread and stuff, his menu. He got to get back to whatever he's doing.
Yeah, man. All I want to do is say death to the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Giants fan, so I'm going all Chiefs today, hopefully. Where I live at, I cannot have the Eagles win a Super Bowl. Not again. Not 2 in like 5 years, bro. It's been tough living where I live at in Pennsylvania because of the Eagles. But yeah, like hopefully everybody enjoyed the Super Bowl today. We talked Knicks today. That was good. And we got another game tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. DJ Shuttle, any last words?
No, just looking forward to these next 2 games and the All-Star and the All-Star break. Excited with the trade and Hart's first game here. And I'm looking forward to more of that tenacity rubbing off on the rest of the team.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I appreciate you guys. I sent the text out late. I mean, the I don't know what it was, email, DM, or whatever, and agreeing to come on and do the show and talk about Josh Hart. And then, of course, when we start rocking, we start talking about all kinds of things, Tibbs, the rotation, the playoffs, you know, who's a good matchup, that's how we do. For those who are going to the Washington, D.C. game, or want to go to the Washington, D.C. game at Capital One Arena, the link is in the description. I will be there, but we're going to do a live podcast. We're going to do a pregame show live, a postgame show live. And those who have tickets will go right across the way from Guy Ferrari's restaurant, just a little path. You exit the, you don't even have to go outside, basically. You exit the restaurant, you're in the arena, and you go to the game. I myself am staying back and heading up a watch party. So if you don't want to go to the games and you want to just come and do the pre and post game show and be a part of the watch party, come and join me. I love meeting the chat. I love meeting my fellow panel members, and I love meeting the chat as well.
So the watch party is going to be in New York.
No.
In Washington. Okay. I was about to say because, because it's going to be crazy that night. That's Nas at the Garden that night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's gonna be there. Because I'm gonna be there for the pre and post game, and I'll just stay and watch the game.
I'm on standby for these Nas tickets.
That's what's up.
If the plug come through, I'm going. If not, maybe I'll take it.
That is definitely one thing that will supersede a Knicks game. Nas at the Garden.
Right. Yeah. Definitely dry. Listen, I think
it's the Garden.
Steph, before you go, you got 2 more super chats.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna read them. And this is one of the things we're gonna do more consistently as well. So we'll do one in Philly. We'll do Charlotte. We'll do a lot of them. But this year we've only been able to do Washington. Harts Duggar, appreciate you. Salute to the first time 2 black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl. Yep. Absolutely. You would think of maybe 10 years, maybe more than that, maybe probably more than that when it was, the thoughts about black quarterbacks, and whether or not. Oh, last year.
Some people thought, coming in. See, I know a lot about the draft and stuff like that. So a lot of people thought Jalen Hurts should become a wide receiver or a running back when he came out of college. So yes, that is much as I hate the Eagles. Yeah, I'm not rooting for Jalen Hurts obviously today, but I actually like his story. I like him as a person, as a player, and Lamar Jackson got it when he got out the draft. Everybody wanted him to become a running back, and then he won the MVP. So yeah, like I know racism when it comes to the black quarterback in the NFL, not just last 10 years, it's like last year. It's still there.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So someone had mentioned about Thaddeus Young. Shout to Jay Boogie. And Jay Boogie, in my mock trades to get OG, I was actually including Thaddeus Young in all my ESPN Trade Machine mocks. So I'd love to get him.
Who's that playing for now?
All right, let me read the super chat first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Shout out to Jay Boogie, a huge supporter of the channel. Did the intro song. Appreciate you. Shout out to the chat and the panel. Blessings, health, happiness. Question: if he becomes available, how do you feel about Thaddeus Young on this squad?
So before I complete what I was saying, salute to Jay Boogie. I was checking out the track and I was like, this track is fire. So we got to talk offline about some other things, Jay Boogie. But I was saying Thaddeus Young, when I was doing these mock trades I was trying to put together to get OG, I was like, yeah, take RJ and take Obi Toppin and bring Thaddeus Young in to be the backup power forward. Like Thaddeus Young would be the type of stable defensive presence. He wouldn't be as uber athletic, but rebounding, good 3-point percentage, smart player, veteran, been around. I mean, I thought that would have been great for the playoff push. And his contract is only partially guaranteed for next year. So, you know, it's not really a crazy commitment. He's only getting $8 million a year. So, I mean, I doubt that they waive him because Toronto's too smart to do something like that. Right. But yeah, I mean, if for any reason that they waive him, definitely bring him in and nobody can watch.
Right.
I like Thaddeus Young. He's a little long in the tooth, as they would say, right?
34.
But he's a
young 34 though. He's one of these guys that stays in top shape. I watched the whole thing about this guy. Like he trains, he works out. Like this guy's in great shape. So I mean, and he's only going to be playing 10 to 12 minutes a game if he was the backup anyway. So it's not like you're asking a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true. What I do like about him is that he also contributes in multiple categories. You know, like he'll score, he'll rebound, he'll pass the ball, he'll assist, things of that sort. But I can't say I'm disappointed in Obi playing behind Randall other than defensively. Like now guys just taking him to the hole. Like he's out on the perimeter. It's a second game in a row. They just put the ball on the floor and drove, you know, right by him. But I'm not
gonna start beating up on Obi, but I got a lot I can say on Obi right now, Queen.
All right. Okay.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Jay Boogie said, I just gave away 2 Nas tickets. It didn't coexist with me going to the Knicks Atlanta game. Wow.
Yeah, he's probably seen Nas a bunch of times. Nas is one of the few artists that I really like that I haven't seen yet.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you gotta get the card. You gotta get there then. Yeah. That's on your bucket list. I get that.
If not, come hang with us in Washington D.C.
No, I'm gonna make some calls. I'm gonna see what I can do.
All right, last one before we out of here because we'll be here forever.
Right.
Corey Lee, please tell the panel that we are going on a run. Okay. This not being biased, but being confident in the team that you have. Let's stop overvaluing these other teams that are in front of us.
Corey Lee,
there are times when I watch the Knicks, I think we win in the championship.
I know, right?
There's times when I watch Randall, RJ, and Brunson play this was earlier in the season though, play so well together and get that bench support that I'm like, yo, maybe. Scary. And then there's other times I watch them, I'm like, yeah, we need
what the hell is this?
Yeah, we need to stop in here tomorrow.
Right.
You know? It's the inconsistency, and I think part of it is just this is the first time they've been, you know, playing together, and we're a relatively young team, and I think that's part of bringing Hart in, getting some proven NBA players And it's only been one game, but you can see how he just elevated us.
Right.
All right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hopping on this morning. Queen's Court tomorrow on Nothing But Knicks. I'm pretty sure most, if not all of you, are subscribed to that channel. I do the Queen's Court Monday nights, usually around 8, but the Knicks play tomorrow. So if we do the Queen's Court, it will probably be 6:30-ish, 7-ish, no, 6, probably 6:30.
Yeah, we play at 7:30.
We play at 7:30. So either 6 or 6:30. Thank you for that. Yeah, and then I will be back Tuesday morning for the morning, for the morning recap show. I was about to say last words, but we did that already. Peace, fam.
Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying?